Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This channel is all about my journey throughout CRNA school. So this video is going to be on what to do after you've received your acceptance. If you guys are interested, let's get into the nitty gritty. So congratulations on your acceptance. Now, what is it that you do? You kind of are like, okay, now what? So what I recommend you start doing is getting some affairs in order, so to speak. So you'll receive your acceptance, and I'm sure they're going to give you instructions on what to do afterwards, but now you can start preparing or thinking ahead of time what you're going to need to do once you've received your acceptance. So more than likely, you'll need to be giving the school a deposit to hold your spot in the program. I'm not sure how much each school charges for deposits, but just keep in mind that you're going to need to have at least some money set aside, liquid, that you can go ahead and send over to the school. I believe you could probably pay with a credit card as well, worst case, but you want to make sure that you're able to pay your deposit to hold your spot in the course. If you're fortunate enough to be accepted to several schools, then obviously, you have to sit and think what's best for you, what program you feel is most tailored to what your needs are as far as learning, locations, clinical sites. Just, keep in mind that each school has its advantages and its disadvantages, and you applied to that school for a reason. So obviously, really think it through before you make your decision on which school you're going to be sending your deposit toward, but also give the school a heads up ahead of time, like not so far toward when the school is going to be starting, because you have to be considerate of others as well. So let's say you received your acceptance from two schools and you decided really early on that you prefer to go to one school over the other. Please inform that school that you will not be attending that school. That way they can offer that spot to somebody else, just like all of us are. You know how competitive it is. If there's a seat available, we'll take it. So obviously just be courteous about that. Now, for sure, I would start calling your primary care physician and making an appointment. You're going to need to do a physical. More than likely, you're going to need to get your Tdap or have proof that you received it. Some sort of flu shot for the flu season. Nowadays, you have to have the COVID vaccine, especially if you're going to be going to a front-loaded program where you're going to be going right into clinicals, I think, within your second semester. So you might want to consider getting the COVID vaccine if you haven't already gotten it. And then you're going to need to get your titers. So you're going to need to do some blood work to see your measles, mumps, rubella status, and a whole bunch of others that they check there in your titers, like hepatitis B and whatnot. As well as doing PPD. I believe that you can get by with doing the blood test for tuberculosis, but if not, I think you have to do a series of 2 for the PPD. Don't quote me on that. Your school will guide you better off, but this is just so you have an idea of what you're going to need once you get accepted. Next, they're going to set you up with a Metatrax account. More than likely, there's certain software programs that you can use in order to track your cases. For the most part, what I've heard is most people are using Metatrax. And the good thing about Metatrax is that you can upload all your documents from like your physical, your TB, your hepatitis B, your Tdap vaccine, all of that you can upload into Metatrax. I just want to make it note that even though it seems free at first, you're going to have to pay a $7.50 a month in order to maintain that subscription, and you're going to need it for the duration of school because you're going to be inputting your cases. So I would say $7.50 over the course of 3 years every month. I wouldn't go ahead and get right into like actual equipment that you're going to be needing. I would look into the school to see what kind of uniforms they're going to want you to wear. Maybe you can just have a uniform that you already have on hand embroidered. Definitely find out from the school what uniform choices they prefer. My school in particular, we had to buy our uniforms in the bookstore. Also, I will make a note that if you are planning on going to school in a state that has a compact license, I know there's a couple states that it's state specific. So let's say you're practicing in California and you're going to be going to school in Florida. Florida has its own nursing license, so you're going to have to contact the Florida Board of Nursing and get a license in that state. So definitely plan ahead for that if you're working or if you're licensed in a state like that and you need to be changing your residency and all that. That takes some time, so give yourself ample amount of time to work that out. And the Board of Nursing sometimes can take a little long depending on the state, so definitely give it some time. Also, all your certifications, you need to make sure that they are up to date while you're going to be starting. So your ACLS, your BLS, your PALS, all of those, they have to be up to date. Obviously, if they're going to expire a year in, then you don't have to redo them. But just make sure that you have them, because they're going to want you to have them and they don't want that to lapse. So at some point, if it's going to expire, you're going to have to redo them. All right, and then as far as getting your affairs in order at work, it's my recommendation that you send in your letter of resignation with ample time. Like if you know that you're going to be starting in January and you find out, let's say sometime in October, go ahead and let them know in October that your last day will be, let's say, maybe before the holidays, so you can have the holidays off, or if you want to work till the very last second, you know, if you give them a lot of time, then that actually looks very good on you if you maybe are planning on working a per diem. I've mentioned in a couple videos that I am working right now while I'm in CRNA school. So if you're on good terms with your unit, maybe they'll be able to give you opportunities like that. And it's always good to keep your, you know, the last place of employment on good terms, so that when you're applying to your new job as a CRNA, you can use them as a reference. That way they can, your new job can refer to them and ask how you were as an employee. That way you do better in terms of your interview for your new job. It's always better not to burn your bridges. So I recommend that you give ample time to your current place of employment if you know well in advance that you will be leaving. And you can also take that opportunity to travel and get all the things that you want to get done before school. If you need to move across the state, that way you can get those affairs in order. If you need to look for housing across country or start, you know, planning a move, then that way you can give yourself ample time. So you can go ahead and put your letter of resignation for a designated amount of time that you need off. And that way you're just, you know, overall more prepared. As far as studying beforehand, I don't know if it's a good idea. I've heard some people do recommend it, but you know, your program is going to be hectic no matter what. Maybe you can brush up a little bit on some ICU pharmacology, like pressors and things that you gave in the unit, and also sedatives if you want to get a 1-up. But I recommend that you just take that time to decompress, because you're about to dive into some pretty heavy you know, stuff as far as your education. So maybe just take the time to decompress and let your mind be elsewhere. You will be busy getting things together. It's not like you're just going to be starting on Monday, your first day of school. You have to get things done. So as far as going over some material beforehand, maybe watch a few YouTube videos about ICU pharmacology, or some mechanism of actions for the sedatives that we normally give. That way, you know, since you're familiar with those medications, it won't seem so daunting when you're actually studying them. I guess that's my main recommendation. I believe that's it for as far as the prep work for starting school once you've received your letter of acceptance. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, next week I'll be doing a week 8 update for semester 2, so look out for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.